Welcome, friends, it's the Movie Film Podcast. Enjoy the show. Zachy and Brian are talking about movies. Movie Film Podcast on the radio. Welcome to Movie Film. This is episode 260. My name is Zachy Hassan, and I see you, Brian Hall.
I see you, Zachy. How are you?
I'm well. You know, I was going to say I'm good, but I'm not good. I don't know if you can hear it in my voice, but I'm on the other side of a 24-hour fever.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Which 24 hours, you're like, oh, well, that's fine. Yeah, but the problem is I'm in a house with a bunch of people, so it goes down the chorus line. So you're looking at an entire business week plus a weekend as it goes through down the chain.
So what is this? Is this the flu?
I guess, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I don't even know. You know, I did not get the flu vaccination. I'm not.
That is our. Yeah, I know our folly this year, I guess.
Yeah, so it kind of kicked me in the ass a little bit. I was down to my last day of school, so I had finals. I had one final in the evening.
Yeah.
And I could feel it happening earlier in the day. And I'm like, just come on. I just need to hold out till tonight. And the class was at 6:30. At 5, I had like 101-degree fever.
Oh, wow.
So I'm like, ugh. So we ended up meeting on Zoom. And thank goodness for Zoom, right?
Yeah. Oh, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, that's good.
I was able to be like, you know what, just get on the Zoom. And I mean, like 2 years ago, that would not have, well, not 3 years ago, that would not have been an option.
Yeah. I had a meeting this week and someone had COVID and they still joined the meeting, but they had their camera off. But it was funny because every now and then they'd chime in like, yeah, good idea. Kind of chime out. Like it's just a whole different world, where you can do that.
You have to remember to turn your camera off, though.
Yes. Yes.
There's a whole genre of accidentally masturbating during the Zoom meeting.
Yeah, well, yeah, I remember that. There would be these little stories, or this person fired from this because, or some even like people on like CNN and stuff, right?
There's enough of those now to get like a YouTube supercut of the accidental whack. Which, like, damn, like, just hold out for an hour, right?
I know. I mean, I know it makes no sense, but it's like suggested for you. All the times DiCaprio's been nominated and not won, until he did supercut, and then the accidental whack, the accidental whacking of 2020 through today.
But the year is winding down. How are your holidays going?
I mean, really, I can't complain. It's one of those things. I can't remember if we've talked about this on the show, but with friends, I've said, I just feel like for the next couple of years, December is just going to be rough. And it's about how do you tiptoe through the landmine that is like this. It's just gonna, post Thanksgiving, this illness stuff is just going to explode. And I think it's in certain ways we have new things are contagious in a different way. And so it's just sort of it's like management, Yeah. So, okay, I can do this. Like, I don't know if I'm going to do that. This could present this. Like we had, people that I work with, went to like the Emmy thing, like daytime Emmys that just recently happened. And they were like, yep, explosion of COVID out of this. I'm out for a couple of weeks. And it's like, okay, that's a bummer, obviously. But it's like, well, there's like levels of importance. Like, okay, well, I really want to attend this, but I'm planning to see these people in a week, and which is more important to me. And so maybe I'll skip this thing so I can ensure, like we were saying off air that, I missed my parents being out here last year, and I don't see them a ton in person, like maybe once a year. And so getting COVID last year and having them out here in Los Angeles and completely missing them was really sad. And so this year, I kind of had this, the week before them coming, I was like, all right, we'll do this, and this up to a point. But then after that, I went to like an outdoor movie thing the other day, but that's pretty much it.
Smart.
So, yeah. I was going to ask about that, by the way. I was just going to mention, I mean, I'll just start getting into what I've been watching, but we went because we missed a lot of Christmas events due to us being sick in the first couple of weeks of December. We wanted to do something, with
Mm-hmm.
lights and music and whatever. And so we went and saw, I don't know if this is across the country, but out here they have something called street food cinema.
Okay.
And it's, they pop up in different areas. This one in particular was pretty cool. I mean, you went through this, Christmas light tunnel, and then there was this big trailer, like rustic looking trailer that was shooting soap out, basically that looked like falling snow. And then there's all these food trucks. And then there's like a church that was lit up that had Santa Claus inside. And there were these Victorian homes that were lit, with, animated snowflakes and whatnot. And then they showed How the Grinch Stole Christmas. And then, they have these little stands and they're selling mulled wine and hot cocoa. And I was like, this is really cool. And it was, in this, like I say, the lead up to my parents coming out here, it was cool because it was all outside. And it was a really fun event. I was just curious, actually, if they have those. I mean, we have so many of those out here, different companies and Cinespia. And, they do the cemetery screenings out here at Hollywood Forever. I was just curious up in the Bay Area if they do things like that or if your family goes to them.
They probably do them, not as often, but I can't say that I have been to them.
Yeah, they're fun. They're fun. I mean, especially this one where they have just all sorts of different things going on and atmosphere that they're creating. But I'm just curious. I'm just curious if they were.
I'll have to keep an eye out, see if there's anything that happens local, or conversely, next time I make it down there, we can go to one together.
Oh, it's so much fun. I mean, some of them are on rooftops. We saw 2001 and like Close Encounters or something like on this rooftop. And it's like, looking at the stars and watching these movies. And then, like I said, this one, we could see these buildings all lit up and it was just, holiday sort of thing. Yeah. It's a fun thing to do.
Yeah.
Who is that guy? I remember we went to one at Cinespia, which is at the Hollywood Forever. Well, they do a couple things, but the Hollywood Forever Cemetery. And we saw, who's the guy from the Roots, the drummer? Questlove, yeah. And Questlove and Natalie Portman were sitting in front of us and we're like, hey, only at Cinespia.
2 Academy Award winners.
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, those are kind of fun. But anyway, what else? Oh, I'll just briefly mention this because I just briefly thought about it when it was done. But I watched the sequel to A Christmas Story that dropped on HBO Max, A Christmas Story Christmas.
That's right.
And that was kind of interesting, right? Like I think they've done a sequel to this before. Obviously the original.
It was like a unauthorized sequel kind of thing. Not unauthorized, but like it.
Yeah.
It was like a, made for video licensing the name kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. And this one actually features the people who were involved with the first one. And Peter Billingsley, who's the boy in the first one, now he's like the dad. And, I'm not like passionate about the original, but it is definitely comfort food in the background, on Christmas Day when it's running all day on TBS or whatever it is. But I was, went in a little wary, and I would just say it's nice. It's
what I'm hearing.
Yeah, it's not particularly memorable, but I think what helps it is a lot of the heart that they infuse into it that does latch on a little bit, and you feel for him, and you want things to go well for these guys. I don't know that the set pieces are as memorable or iconic as the original, but I mean, what could be, really with the Santa and you'll shoot your eye out and all that. But, I tried giving, I don't remember what it was called, the 8-Bit Christmas or whatever, which was Neil Patrick Harris's like 1980s kid wants a Nintendo Christmas story thing, which I didn't even finish. But I thought this was one of those rare ones where it's like, okay, wait, I finished it. It was okay. I mean, I don't know how you even try to follow up the original, but yeah, it's there for anyone that's looking for something while they're wrapping presents, I suppose.
But quite high praise. Right
yeah. It's nice, but not particularly memorable.
I looked up A Christmas Story 2, which came out in 2012, which is actually more recent than I thought. But
me too.
That went straight to DVD, but it starred Daniel Stern, I guess is the biggest name in there,
Oh, interesting.
As Mr. Parker. So he was the dad.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, well, I have to say, I mean, the Peter Billingsley being back it's so wild. I mean, I know that movie so well that when you see that grin, but like on an older man, you're like, what? It is so weird. Just skipping ahead in time to him being completely grown up, you know?
Well, I kind of like that Peter Billingsley has had a pretty successful behind the scenes career.
Yeah, producing and whatnot. Yeah.
Yeah, he works with Favreau, which is how he ended up in Iron Man, the first Iron Man.
Right.
And
It's like a
ended up
scientist
getting
or something, right?
Yeah, and ended up getting like a legacy MCU role just by virtue of that.
Yeah.
Because he showed up in Spider-Man Far From Home. But I kind of like that he got to do this little thing, and it's just a little thing that he didn't need to do.
But, yeah, I think you can tell they really cared.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, like I say, some of the vignettes just didn't feel as like I needed to be focusing on what it was in front of me as others, but I thought the heart actually worked quite well. You know, you have some like the bullies kind of return in interesting ways, and I actually was like, oh, that's kind of cool. And it's also equally trippy to see that bully, you know, with the raccoon skin hat, you know, as a grown man, you're like, you know what I mean? It's like, what? It's very odd. Almost like seeing, you know, like Sigourney Weaver as like a tall blue person, you know, it's like, I recognize this, but I don't recognize this.
And that's on HBO Max, by the way.
On HBO Max. Yeah. But this, I cannot wait to talk about this because you said you just finished it.
Finished it.
I watched the Banshees of Inisherin, which I had been looking forward to. I thought the trailer I was like, yeah, I want to watch that. And this is one of those movies where, you know, you turn on HBO and it's like, well, like there it is. Like,
That's so funny.
Almost like without any pomp and circumstance anymore. You know, these movies that have just like Amsterdam, for example, or whatever. And it's just like a month later, like, boom, there they are.
Is it on HBO? See it, because I bought it for my Vudu and now I feel like a chump because I could have just got HBO.
Yes, it is on HBO. No, I don't know. You know, I'm not sure, Zachy. It is. No, it is. But
well, I was glad to spend the money, Brian. I'll just say.
Yeah,
I was glad to have spent the money.
Yeah. Well, okay. I'd love to hear your thoughts.
So this is directed by Martin McDonagh, and it is a very small story.
Yeah.
About a broken friendship between these two guys. We got Colm and Parik, played by Brendan Gleeson, and Colin Farrell. Colin Farrell goes to the pub every day with Colm. One day he shows up at his house, and Colm doesn't go. And Colm says, "I don't like you anymore."
Yeah. And just like that. Like I don't like you anymore. I don't want to be your friend anymore. That's it.
Did I do something? No, I just don't like you.
Yeah.
And what you feel just this entire gamut of emotions watching this movie.
Mm-hmm.
You feel sadness and anger and confusion and disgust and sadness. I mean, this is like
yes. Yeah.
It's a way of checking that all of your emotions are working the way they're supposed to, because you go down the spectrum, right?
Yes.
And so this was literally, I knew we were going to be recording. I was like, I had been wanting to watch this. I was like, I want to try to knock this out before we record. And so Amina and I sat down and watched it, and it ends, and she's like, wow, and then she got up and kind of started doing her own thing, and I went in the other room. And then after about 10 minutes, we just meet up in the kitchen and we just start talking about it.
Right. It's just one of those movies. It's so funny, like you said. I mean, it could be a play when you say it's small. I mean, it really is just sort of dialogue and just a couple locations, but there's these interesting characters and sort of their dynamics with each other. I thought his relationship to his sister was so sweet and, kind of sad, but sweet, very, very sweet. And, I felt so many things watching this, and it goes into sort of like mildly twisted territory, and it's, it almost feels like a fable or something, like a slightly, like people do things that you're like, why would they do that? But it feels more like symbolic or something.
Yeah.
Um,
It's set in 1923 against the backdrop of the Irish Civil War,
right,
so very much a commentary on that
right.
idea, right? But above and beyond that, I think what first of all, just like fantastic performances, right? By
Oh,
by
yeah.
by both of the leads, but really everybody. Barry Keoghan is really good as one of the
Yes.
secondary characters,
Yeah.
and the thing, I don't know, it. This is what I was talking to Alan about. I was like, the older you get, the less friends you have,
Mm,
right? Like, and this is something somebody said to me way back in the day, and it I was thinking about that as I was watching. It's like, uh, the older you get, you'll find you gain acquaintances but lose friends,
hmm.
and I didn't really understand that, but at the time, but you think about it, like the 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 notion of what you consider a friend, right? Like somebody who you go through thick and thin with, right? And the longer
Yeah.
you have a friendship with somebody, the more it makes it worth hanging on to, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so the idea of Colin Farrell being told one day, "No, I don't like you anymore."
Yeah.
I mean, your heart kind of breaks for this guy.
I know. He plays it so well, this sort of sad guy, and I cried in the middle. There's
Yeah.
a scene where he needs help up. That's all I'll say. And
Yes,
I
right.
cried. Like it was so hard watching him
Mhm.
in that state.
Yeah.
He's just heartbroken. And it's weird too because I don't agree with the way that everybody was behaving, but I also
Right.
kind of understood whether their delivery system was done well or not. It's kind of interesting why this person doesn't want to be his friend. It's something I'm sure we've all felt actually in some ways. He just goes about it in a really abrupt sort of cold cold manner. But like there's this whole sort of notion about your time. At some point you
Mm.
have to think about the time you
Yeah.
have and how you manage it. And it's yeah, I almost want to get into it more, but I don't want to, but I just wish they'd communicate better, honestly. Yeah, because,
Right. Yeah.
it's like if they could sort of explain themselves a little bit more, maybe they'd never understand. I don't know. But it was just, I don't know. It was very interesting to watch all of these characters have feelings about these things and the way they reacted to the repercussions. And yeah,
Well, and
good.
the fact that the movie forces you to just kind of sit with it
Yes.
as you watch. You know what I mean? I mean, it's very beautifully photographed.
Yeah.
You really just sort of take in the landscape, right? This is wonderful photography, but you have these long shots of characters just kind of walking from
Hmm.
here to here, right? And it allows you to walk in their shoes a little bit.
And to really appreciate their lifestyle. I mean, like this island life kind of idea where, this time of day we all meet here and we, truly all know one another and know each other's business. And we're all we have, I mean, the sister character basically is like, I've got to spread my wings, and so like she feels that, but it's like, the Colin Farrell character is like, but this is my home, so it's like he chooses to
Yeah.
be in this really confined place. But I don't know how everyone chooses to exist within that confined place is itself kind of interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, just I mean, it's definitely a film that's gonna it's gonna stay with me for. 'Cause I'm gonna be thinking about it the rest of the day. I know that. And
Yeah.
I was thinking, uh, uh, this is like Fox Searchlight or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And so the movie starts, and you got the Fox fanfare. And I just watched Avatar yesterday,
Mm,
and I was just thinking, like, man, first of all, I'm so glad that music is still part of our
me too.
cinematic experience, right? And I'm like, could we get two more different movies uh, coming out with that fanfare?
I know.
And I love that. I do love that.
Speaking of, I don't remember how I became a part of this, but I somehow like Focus Features like sends me emails every now and then.
Hmm.
And they did a survey recently that I thought was very interesting because I think they're like, okay, A24 is a brand. Fox Searchlight is kind of a brand. Like, how do we, put out some sort of messaging or identity? Identity, I think, is what they're looking for. And it was funny because I was like, I'm kind of curious. So I took the survey and I realized, when I see Fox Searchlight, I'm like, oh, that's probably going to be pretty interesting. Like, I mean, the Menu was one of the more recent ones I saw recently. Like, it's just
that's right,
kind of a stamp where I'm like, yeah, it's probably going to be something that challenges me a little bit and that I walk away and think about for a while. So,
right.
yeah, I mean, A24 and those others are interesting too. But I've just, speaking of this film, I know for me, when I see that, I'm like, oh, okay, well, this is kind of a stamp of approval a little bit, which is kind of interesting.
So it is on HBO. So those of you who have missed it, you have an opportunity to check it out. You don't have to do what I did and purchase the thing.
That's all I got, basically.
Well, Banshees of Inisherin is set in 1923, and as it happens, I happen to watch another thing set in 1923 called 1923.
What? What's this?
So this is the new Yellowstone prequel series.
Oh, yes.
So this is now Yellowstone has become a massive franchise in and of itself.
Yeah. Have you watched it?
So Yellowstone, I started watching a couple years ago, and I really liked it. And I stopped because I started when my wife and kids were out of town, and I was like, I want to watch this with her because I think this is something we can do together. And this was like 2018, I think. And then like kind of just life got in the way.
Right.
And I just never got back to it. But in the meantime, it became like the highest rated show on cable.
Right.
And so it's this weird thing that everybody's watching, but no one's talking about, it feels like.
Yeah, or I see it written about, excuse me, a lot. Oh boy. But my brother just started it. And so that's the first person I've actually talked about it with.
Yeah.
But yes, I see it's everywhere.
It is, and it's very good, by the way. It's a very good show. So I enjoyed that, and then last year they came out with a prequel called 1883, and this was for the Paramount Plus streaming service. The show, by the way, airs on Paramount Network, which is a cable channel. But this is for the streaming service. So that's the original show, the mothership show, is about the Dutton family in modern day Montana, and they have the most expansive cattle ranch in Montana, and it's all about the intra family squabbling and the political stuff. I mean, it's I call it modern day Dallas, which is not, if you know me, that's not meant as an insult.
Yeah.
A little more serious version of that. So 1883 takes you back to how this ranch was founded. And that show starred Tim McGraw as the ancestor of John Dutton, who's the current owner of the ranch, played by Kevin Costner. And it starred Sam Elliott as the co-lead. And it's really good.
Yeah.
And that's another show that I'm watching now.
Oh,
having watched 1923, it's for the last year. I've been like, I need to get to this. I never got to it. However, the 1923 is in essence the sequel or the second season, if you will.
Okay.
But it jumps ahead 40 years, and you have Harrison Ford and Helen Mirren as the leads.
Wow, who would have ever? I mean, I know we're so used to this now, but like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Like Harrison Ford and Helen Mirren are going to be on a TV show. You're like, what?
So crazy. So this is now taking us 40 years further, and we're moving closer to the ranch as you know it if you watch the show. But I think the great thing about this show is you don't have to have seen any of it, honestly.
Really, each one stands on its own.
I think so. I mean, obviously it helps. To have seen at least 1883, but I think it's compelling in and of its own right? It's a story about Montana as it heads into the Great Depression, as World War I has ended. I mean, that's all great historical context for a compelling story, right?
This feels like something I would like. Yeah,
Brian, 100%.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, honestly, you tell me, it's about Harrison Ford running a ranch in the 1920s. I'm like, I'm sold already.
Right.
Like that's interesting. And you got this great supporting cast: James Badge Dale, Robert Patrick, and I mean,
Yeah.
Jennifer Eel, um, people who you know, right? And the
Right.
whole shebang. It's all created by Taylor Sheridan, who
Yeah.
wrote right who wrote Hell or High Water and Sicario, right?
Hmm.
And he's just figured out how to do TV.
Yeah. Yeah. Sounds like it.
I mean, he gave this interview talking about 1923. He's like, uh, they say that, uh, House of Dragon is like the most expensive show, or Rings of Power or whatever. He's like, I don't know how this isn't the most expensive show given everything that we put in to make the era come to life. And I
Mm.
mean, it looks like a movie, no doubt.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they've only dropped the pilot up to this point because
Oh,
it's been released weekly. But I think if you're a fan of this franchise, then there's plenty there for you. But uh, having watched the pilot virtually cold, I was thoroughly engaged by it.
wow. Great. Okay. Well, I
So
was thinking then I wanted to start Yellowstone, but I mean, I guess I could start with this.
I would say, if anything, start with 1883.
Okay.
It's just it's 10 episodes,
Okay.
and that's it. And then you can move right into this. This is just, it picks up 40 years later.
Speaking of
I
movie stars being in TV shows, another great innovation is having seasons only be about 10 episodes.
Yeah, right. I mean, this show, 1923, it's going to be 2 seasons of 8 episodes each,
Okay.
which is like perfect.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that too is this is what Taylor Sheridan said. He's like, they had planned for 1 season, and then he goes to Paramount and he's like, "Hey, I need another season." They're like, "Okay."
Yeah. Anything you say, boss.
Yeah, I mean, forget just the Yellowstone shows. He has the Tulsa King,
Tulsa King, right?
Mayor of Kingstown, or whatever it's called.
Oh, that's his too?
Yeah,
Damn, I didn't realize.
I mean, he's doing all right.
Yeah.
you know.
Wow.
But yeah, it's streaming on Paramount Plus.
Hmm.
I would for you for certain. I can't imagine you won't be engaged by it.
Yeah, I kind of like Midwestern-y Kevin Costner cowboy
Yeah.
stuff, like yeah,
I mean, I'm a sucker for westerns just in general.
same. Yeah.
And even with Yellowstone, even though it's set in the present day, yeah, you tell me, oh, it's about Kevin Costner running a ranch. Yeah,
Hmm.
I'm in.
It's funny when I read the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood novelization that Tarantino
Mhm.
wrote,
Yeah.
he would do chapters. It's such a weird book. Like he would do chapters that were just like episodes of that Bounty Law show.
Oh,
And
sure.
he had this one chapter that was about like a cattle rustling, scam kind of deal thing. And I was like, this is great. Like it was so compelling. And it made me want to watch the show. So yeah, I'm kind of a sucker for this stuff.
Well, check it out. Let me know what you think.
Yeah.
Staying in that period of American history, I also want now this past Saturday, I had reserved my tickets for Avatar: The Way of Water like a month before it came out, right?
Right.
And I was
Right.
like, Saturday morning, everybody's gonna be home. We'll go to the IMAX, and the whole shebang.
Hmm.
Of course, man proposes, God disposes,
Right.
and
Right.
and my youngest son, it was his turn in the barrel for having
Yep.
a fever,
Yep.
and I'm like, well, so much for that.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, well, we're all home. What can we watch that's Avatar esque?
Hmm.
The Last Samurai, which is it's basically Avatar.
That is so funny. I haven't seen it since the theater. I remember liking it, and it's so funny you say it. I would have never even thought about the Avatar thing, but it's like, oh yeah, like I just kind of forgotten what it was about. Even
Yeah, I mean, it is like 93% Avatar.
wow, how funny.
you know,
Yeah,
uh, it's about a white guy who's brought in by the military to subdue the natives, and then he
yeah.
ends up being falling in love with their culture and ends up joining them. It's pretty much that's
Wow. Okay.
it.
Yeah.
Now this too is a movie. I mean, I had not seen it since 2000. 2004, I think, when it came out.
Mm-hmm.
And it's good, right? I mean, it's I don't know, it's a movie that I need to rewatch a ton,
Yeah, sure.
but I'm at a point now, certainly in terms of my life. I'm like Brendan Gleeson in Banshees of Inisherin. It's like, well, I've only got so much time
Yeah.
here. So is oh, I'm not going to rewatch it a ton. Is that really a ding against a movie?
No, that's so funny. Even when you invoked him again, I'm like, yeah, I'm finding myself feeling that way. Like if I start a book and I'm like, no, like I don't
Yeah,
need to spend another week and a half because I just don't think this is for me. Or more likely, it's like, yeah, a TV series or a movie or something. Which I never turn stuff off, but it's like I'm
yeah,
feeling more like, well, I have this many minutes in this day. Is this what I
yeah.
want to give those minutes to?
That's
Yeah,
right. So all that to say, I enjoyed it. It's Tom Cruise plays the lead character, and it's I mean, it gives you what you expect. I don't think you start that movie expecting it to go any other way. You know,
sure.
but it does a very good job being that type of film. A fantastic score by Hans Zimmer.
Oh wow, yeah. I can remember how I felt, but that's
Uh,
about it. I don't remember a lot of the details. Who directed it? It was someone kind
yeah,
of
it's Ed Zwick.
Ed Zwick. Right,
Yeah,
right.
and he did Glory, and
Yes.
this is Glory with samurais,
Yeah. Speaking of
or
scores, oh,
with samurai,
so
I
good.
should say. I think that's the
Samurai,
singular,
right?
the plural. Yeah, but yeah, I would say if it's been a while and you haven't seen it, it's worth revisiting. I think.
Good sort of historical epic.
Yeah, I think it's uh, like hogwash historically.
Oh,
I think
sure. Yeah.
in terms of what actually happened vis-a-vis the samurai,
Right.
but certainly the period production values are quite good, and it's Tom Cruise. I just saw they dropped the video. I don't know if you saw this. They like a EPK of him preparing for his insane crazy person jump off a motorcycle ramp for the new Mission Impossible.
Yeah, it's like him on a motorcycle going off a ramp on a cliff and then pulling a parachute.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and apparently he did this like 60 times,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I'm like, that guy crazy.
We were talking about this last night, actually, my friends, and we all watched it. We all loved it. We all love what he's doing, and for us. And we're like, I mean, if he keeps doing this, we all know where this is headed, right?
Yeah,
Like this is. But then I was like, maybe he can own it and be like, I'm going to do the ultimate stunt, and like he kind of goes into space and opens his helmet and just kind of drifts away or something, like, by his design.
but
And it just is like, make sure you're rolling, and then it's his final.
so with all of that in mind, I'm like, you know what? I respect the hustle, if nothing else.
Yeah, well, I mean, I can't wait to watch it. Absolutely.
Right. So there's no motorcycle jumps in The Last Samurai, but I think it is a thoroughly entertaining movie. Of that, it's right there in that wheelhouse of Dances with Wolves / Fern Gully / Avatar / this. So
Right.
there's a whole multi movie DVD set you can just do. The White Savior collection or something.
that would crack me up if some studio just owned it and was like, shrug their shoulders.
Yeah, we know
that out.
we know what this is.
Yeah.
Last thing I watched real quick. I got to see Puss in Boots: The Last Wish.
I'm so curious about this. I saw your review and I'm hearing great things. Yeah.
Oh man, this was so good, Brian. I loved this movie.
Dude, wow. Not that I didn't think that I thought it would be bad, but I get excited when I hear there's something good I haven't seen,
Yeah, and I'm somebody who I always liked the character, but I'm not a fan of the Shrek movies.
Yeah, I don't mind them, but I don't think about them.
Yeah. I think for me, the humor that's so like of the moment, I always find that very distracting.
Yeah, we were talking about that, by the way, just real quick. We saw How the Grinch Stole Christmas, like I was saying earlier,
Okay.
the 2000 one with Jim Carrey, and we're like,
Okay.
wow, this was in that moment where the movies always felt like it'd be really funny if we commented on ourselves.
That's right.
Like there's a lot of that going on, and yeah, Shrek is definitely. I mean, at the time though, it was sort of. I mean, they were kind of the first ones to.
It's kind of a new thing.
A new thing, yeah.
But I remember even then finding it distracting. It's like watching a movie from 1997 that refers to the Macarena.
Right, yeah.
You know what I mean? And the other thing I don't particularly like about the Shrek films is the animation style.
Yeah, sure. It looks like previs now.
Right, exactly. I always found it off-putting, and that I would include the first Puss in Boots film in that because it had that Shrek style. With this one, they decided to mix it up, and they did something more like, kind of more like Into the Spider-Verse, more like the Bad Guys from earlier this year.
That's so interesting. I saw the trailer and was picking up on it, but I didn't realize it would be so like that's the whole film, huh?
That's the whole film, and I liked that because I think it makes the animation, it's more cartoony but more realistic, if that makes sense.
Interesting. Okay.
Antonio Banderas is Puss in Boots, and my God, he's so good.
Yeah,
he's so good as his character. You can tell he loves playing him.
That's cool.
And it's this the premise of the movie, right? Puss in Boots is the hero for the villagers, and he defeats villains, whatever. And he's got 9 lives, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, he finds out he's down to his last life. And so now it's this, journey that Puss has to go on where he's grappling with his own mortality.
That's so wild, right?
And is he only a hero because he knows he's got 9 lives? And, it's this really interesting journey that I would assume kids will appreciate because it is funny and it is engrossing. But like as a grown up, you're like, this, I'm tracking with this.
Right.
And then you've got all these other, the whole Shrek thing, right? They reinvent like fairy tale characters. So like, essentially you have this magical wish that all these characters are on the hunt for, including the 3 Bears crime family. And it's the 3 Bears, and Goldilocks is their boss, but she's like this Cockney gangster out of a Guy Ritchie movie. Yeah. She's voiced by Florence Pugh. Ray Winstone is Papa Bear. Olivia Colman is Mama Bear.
Wow, that's kind of amazing. Just that sounds like a movie,
right?
Yeah.
And then you've got the crime boss behind it all is Big Jack Horner, who used to be Little Jack Horner, but he ate a lot of pies.
That's funny.
And he's voiced by John Mulaney. It's just fun. It's really like, I was engrossed the whole time. The animation is great. The voice acting is great. And the story was just lovely.
Wow. Well, I'm convinced. That'll maybe be one of the next things I go see then.
Well, there we go. Let's take a short break. We'll come back with some listener letters and some headlines. And we are back, and hey, we got a couple of listener comments here that I wanted to bring to your attention, Brian.
Yeah.
So both of these are via Twitter. So this is Dan Kiedis messaged me on Twitter, and he says, "Hey, I'm finally getting to your latest podcast. Only just finished Andor, and your conversation with Brian made me want to tell you something a friend of mine told me. There is a town in Derbyshire. It is called Clown, and yes, it has a college."
Really?
Yeah.
Wait, so it's called Clown College?
I guess so.
Or Clown University, maybe? Wow.
So this is a reference to, in our last episode, we had a brief digression. I don't even know how we digressed there now that I think about it.
I don't either. Oh, I remember it was something I was talking about that was unexpected. Oh, it was about me seeing the menu, I think. That's right. I had no interest, and then all of a sudden I had interest, and I was like, I want to see this. And you compared it to when Homer blurts out without any context that he wants to go to Clown College to his family. Yeah.
Now that was like a season 4 episode, I think, right?
Something like that, yeah.
It's so weird because like I've just been recently on this kick where I just put on episodes in the background while I'm doing stuff,
Yeah.
and it's always kind of that golden era. And I just happened to watch Brush with Greatness,
Mm-hmm.
which I think that's either season 2 or 3,
Okay.
maybe season 2, right? That's the one with Ringo Starr.
That feels like one of those earlier ones. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was like early enough that the animation style was not fully settled, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but late enough that the comedy style they'd figured it out.
Right. Right.
So I'm watching it, and I'm just like, is it because I watched this at the exact right age that like this to me is how Simpsons should be?
I know. I'll never know. But
Right.
but yeah, it still hits to me. I just
Right.
still find it, and Federica actually had never really watched it, and because she knows that it's like a language that you and I speak, and she wanted to get to know it better, and so she did go through seasons 1 through 10,
Oh wow.
and
Okay.
she was like texting me things and sending me videos and whatever, and she was still laughing at it, so I think some of it might have a little bit of, oh well, they were the first one to tell this joke, it's been told a lot since, but I think some of
Sure.
it is just plain clever.
Yeah. But it's because I will still, I know you don't, but I will still occasionally watch new episodes.
Mm-hmm.
And I they're not bad. I want to like I laugh occasionally, right?
Yeah.
But it's just different, right? The style, the approach to joke construction, everything, it's just different. It's not
Yes.
quote unquote right for me,
Yeah.
right? And yet, I mean, this is a show that, again, especially now, Simpsons is owned by Disney, but it's airing on Fox. Well, Fox, the network, is not a charity, so clearly people are still watching the show.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? So it is still working.
Yep.
And I go back and forth with that. I'm like, what's the, like, are the people watching it now? Here's my point. Do they look at Golden Era Simpsons and say, well, that's not as funny? You know what I mean?
It's hard to know. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, and because things are so curated now with algorithms and whatnot, like I'm surrounded by memes and Instagram and suggestions, blah, 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 blah. And it all is tailored to what I like.
Yeah.
So it's hard for me to really have an objective point of view of, people's take on the 30 years of The Simpsons.
Right. 30 plus years,
Yeah. But I do wonder, speaking of the 2000s thing with Shrek and whatnot, the 2000 through 2010, that was also kind of this like aggressive sort of raunchy moment.
Yes.
I don't know if that's sort of like a post South Park or whatever, but he's, got like Wedding Crashers where it's just like, let's bet as many women as we can, blah, 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 and like, I feel like The Simpsons in the 2000s kind of fed into that a little bit, where they started to get a little edgier and kind of meaner and a little more violent. Yeah. And that was when they started losing me,
Mm-hmm.
But I wonder if people in that moment who were vibing with that kind of comedy, well, they vibe with that. And then, like you said, I finally had put my finger on it, which is exactly what you just said, where the joke construction is different now. There's a different rhythm to the comedy. And because I didn't evolve with it, when I jump from seasons 1 through 10 to say 31 or whatever they have now, I'm like, whoa. Like I feel discombobulated. It's like a whole different way of them speaking. But it's one of those things where years ago I would have just griped about it, but now I'm like, well, what do you expect? I mean, it's been on for so long, and it's had generations of writers in there. I mean, that's just what's going to happen. It's going to evolve in real time.
I mean, at this point, you've got a writer's room for The Simpsons that is probably younger than us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyway, this has been our semi-regular dissection of The Simpsons.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think longtime listeners are probably like, this again.
Yeah, here they go again. Yeah. It's sort of like, we're talking. This is not even. I don't know what I'm talking about now. But it's like talking about like high school. Remember that one time I almost scored that touchdown? Like it's like you get like it sparks something, and then you just like saying the same ideas that you've already spoken out loud again.
You're Al Bundy talking about.
Exactly.
Your Polk High School, right? Anyway, here's another note I got on Twitter, and this is from Mike Snyder, who said, I loved hearing Brian's view on how the last Indiana Jones was disappointing, but was also the break away from the original, so now he can go into 5 more openly. I'm the same with the Terminator franchise. I didn't want/like 3, but have embraced the following sequels on their own terms.
I like that. I was feeling after James Cameron just recently commented on the last one, Dark Fate, right?
Yeah. Right.
And knowing that, I think I only watched the sequels like once.
Yeah.
And then I'm always like, it doesn't fit with the vibe of the thing that I feel with the ones that I love. And so then I just kind of reject them. But I guess I appreciate this lesson, like I think it would be interesting to try to watch them again and know that there has been a break and just try to enjoy watching Schwarzenegger be a Terminator, and maybe there is some fun to be had that I'm missing. Not in all of them, but in some of them, I don't know. How do you feel? You are a little more generous with them, I feel like, in a way that I think you're not wrong. And like, if I would just sort of stop being so hard on it for, why can't you be more like your brother? Like if I would let go of that a little bit and just try to enjoy it. I don't know.
Stop being all Jake Sully, Brian.
That's hilarious.
So I would say that I'm definitely kinder to number 3 than you or Mike.
Yes.
I think that's a movie that I generally like. I think beyond 3, neither 4, 5, nor 6. So I guess that's not a neither. Then they would none of 4, 5, and 6 particularly landed with me for different reasons.
Yeah.
I've not revisited any of those 3, but for the one time. That I saw them in the theater. So I would like to rewatch them. I think, I'm sort of. I mean, my view. Oh, and by the way, I think the television show is great. I think,
right, which I've never seen.
And
I should watch that.
I would tell you, Brian. I think that, notwithstanding the fact that it is, I mean, it's a network show, so it's going to have those limitations.
Sure.
But I think in terms of the story that they were telling, it's probably the only one that really feels like it's doing something a little bit different in terms of breaking out of sort of what the movie framework tends to be, But that said, I think the great thing about those first 2 movies is they really are a closed loop. You don't need anything after them.
Yeah.
And
it's hard.
And so hard. It is. And I think it's Cameron is an interesting cat because he lavished praise on the 3rd one when it came out.
Yeah.
He lavished praise on the 5th one when it came out.
Yeah. And
then of course he was involved with the 6th one. And I don't think he was lying or bullshitting. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I think he's not as precious about his own franchise because he's like, look, I got my 2.
Yeah.
And I think my point is if James Cameron can show us how to love Terminator sequels, then maybe I can too.
Bravo. I mean,
that's
I think my hang up is that they try to imitate the films that have already come before. So they sort of, they become these chase movies, but not done as well. And I think another big thing is everyone's kind of imitating Robert Patrick.
Yes.
And
you've talked about this. Yeah.
Yeah. And I almost find it cringy is not the right word, but I'm like, no. Like like it's like watching your friends imitate something and showing, you know what I mean? Like, and so it's like maybe try something different,
Well, I think to your point, Brian, I think that's the fundamental problem is that other than number 4, the rest of the movies are all um, good guy resistance fighters on the run from evil Terminator.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, even number the Genesis, even that's kind of doing that same thing. It jumps around in time or whatever. I don't exactly remember that movie, but it's still doing that,
Right.
And I think all this does is lay bare the fact that this is a premise that allows for one movie that's a really good movie, and they managed to somehow beat the odds and get an amazing second movie out of a one movie premise.
Yes.
And that would have been fine, right?
Yeah.
So I think the third one, it suffers in comparison because it's very much trying to do a karaoke version of T2.
Mm-hmm.
But when you think about it, I mean, Terminator Salvation, that one tanked.
Yeah.
And premise-wise, that one had the most promise in terms of going out and expanding the boundaries. But nobody watched it.
Right.
And so they went right back to, okay, let's just do that same thing again.
Yeah.
And Dark Fate, I haven't thought about it since it came out, but that was my fundamental issue. I'm like, you've reset everything, yet changed nothing.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
I remember that guy coming closest to me and being like, "Oh, he's an interesting presence, the villain." But yeah, it's just sort of chase set pieces, but not nearly as good as the others, And so,
that's right.
Like, make it about the scientists in the future war trying to build the time machine or something, or like, but they have these limitations and these like giant robots trying to stop them. Like, I don't know. Let's explore another corner, It's Andor style kind of a thing.
I saw a comment by Cameron, and he talked about how were he to reboot it, and I think he owns the rights now, where he has a portion of the rights. So I mean, anything further would have to go through him.
Yeah,
he was like, just do a ground up reboot, just start over.
Really,
and tackle it from the perspective of like make it more about AI than about hardware.
Sure.
And the only thing that makes me interested in a ground up reboot is if James Cameron is the guy doing it, right?
Same.
But that said, I would want him to actually do it and not farm it out to somebody.
Yeah.
Because that's what we got with Dark Fate, and that didn't necessarily work for me. It worked for some people.
Yeah.
But it is sad when you have a Terminator movie that's hyped up as this is the definitive sequel to T2, right? That's what Dark Fate was promoted at. And like no one showed up.
Yeah, with Linda Hamilton in it.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And so and it was just like I think they killed this thing dead.
Yeah.
That's the reason,
Yeah. Like the Hamburglar.
That said,
he's already dead.
It's already dead. It was same episode, by the way. That's the Clown College episode.
Oh, you're right. Wow. I didn't even realize. Wow.
So coming up in 2023, that is the 20th anniversary of Terminator 3.
Okay.
And I would love to knock out a commentary track for that. I think that would be a really interesting discussion.
Definitely. The last time I watched it with your, we had talked about it a little bit, and I brought that with the viewing, and I did like it a lot more.
I think there's aspects of that film that are very good.
Yeah. There's a lot of great ideas in that movie.
Yeah. So that's a discussion that let's hit pause on that because I want to come back to that.
Yeah.
That said, we do have some headlines, Brian, and the headlines are the same as they've been for the last couple of weeks, which is chaos at DC.
I know. I'm trying to remember where we left off.
Where we left off was, I think either you or I, or maybe both of us, like, well, yeah, James Gunn is in charge, but I mean, it's not like he's gonna fire Henry Cavill. I mean, they just rehired the guy.
Right.
I think that's literally where we left it.
I remember feeling like I sense they're going to clean house, but what will remain? Like,
That's right.
because I think we were saying, I mean, if you're coming in to establish a voice, a unified voice with something, and you're the new guy, I mean, what do you do but sweep everything off the table and then put piece 1 down, piece 2 down, piece 3 down, and say, here's what we're building. But we were saying that makes sense. However, you do have like an Aquaman movie that made $1 billion. That's right. And you've got a Wonder Woman that people seem to really like. And you've got a Batman, thing that's completely disconnected from whatever quote unquote universe you have going on, that it feels like there's going to be a sequel to. So it immediately muddies up the idea of just completely starting from scratch. So it's like, what stays, what goes?
Well, here's okay. So the big headline: Henry Cavill is no longer the Superman of record. So he did that great Instagram video. I think we put the audio on our show.
We did, yeah.
This is right after Black Adam came out. He's like, "I'm back.
Yep,
let's do this thing." And turns out, like 5 weeks later, it's like not so much. He had to put out another statement saying, "Yeah, I'm not involved, and they told me I was, but I'm not." And I honestly, I feel terrible for Henry Cavill, and maybe I shouldn't, because he's extraordinarily wealthy and ridiculously handsome, and I'm sure he's doing fine.
Right.
But he did get kicked around a little bit here.
Well, in his statement, I mean, he even said that the studio asked him to do that. So he put himself out there at the studio's request, only to then have to go, whoops, sorry, never mind.
And this is a result of James Gunn saying that they do have a Superman project in development, which will presumably be the first thing out the chute for this new streamlined universe. And it would be he doesn't say origin story. He says it's Superman earlier in his career. So Henry Cavill is probably too old for that. Now, this is disappointing. However, I'm pragmatic about this, and I felt disappointed when Brandon Routh was shown the door.
Yeah, sure.
I remember back in the early 90s, they were developing Superman 5 with Christopher Reeve.
Right.
That did not happen, and so life goes on, right?
Right.
However, this does point to the probability that the rest of the universe is on the chopping block as it exists right now. I don't see how you say, "Oh, this Superman is different, but that version isn't." I don't. Maybe the studio says, "Well, Aquaman and Wonder Woman are working, so figure it out," and Superman arguably hasn't worked.
Right.
It's tough though, right? Because I was actually thinking about this. I was like, 2021. The James Gunn directed The Suicide Squad hits theaters, and it flops. And why did it flop? Well, part of it is because of the pandemic. Part of it is because it was on HBO Max the day of.
Which I watched on HBO Max.
A lot of people did, right?
Yeah.
I would imagine, though, another reason people didn't go to the theater is because they're like, "Oh, that's the sequel to that other movie, which I did not like." So it's a scenario where you have the first one did very well, but not a lot of people liked it.
Right.
And then that not liking was reflected in how the sequel did.
Yeah, and it's confusing because you still have Margot Robbie in it. It's right. You can just see, I mean, that's just one of the issues that DC movies have going on right now. I mean, there's just not it's not very understandable, these universes. And so I kind of wonder about The Flash. We've talked about, I think we joked last time about how many times they've probably reshot apparently some important scene where the Flash talks to someone, first Michael Keaton, then Ben Affleck, then, Jason Momoa, now who knows, right. I wonder if they're going to use that film to wrap up the Snyderverse of it all.
Well, schedule-wise, that comes out in summer, and Aquaman is December.
Oh, right.
So I'm wondering that, but I think this is the fundamental dilemma that is faced by any future. Whether if it's not James Gunn, it's somebody else. Supposedly they went to Todd Phillips first.
Interesting.
to run the joint, and he's like not with the 10-meter cattle prod.
I completely understand that. And I also, that's kind of interesting. It's not who I would have imagined.
Well, and that sort of tells you, I agree. I would not have imagined him either. And
Yeah.
it tells me that the Warner Brothers people don't seem to be learning the right lessons from any of this stuff, you know?
Yeah. I mean, Gunn makes sense because he is really like ensconced in all this stuff, right? Like he
That's right.
is a fan. Like it, I mean, if you really want to be transparent about it and let's just examine what Marvel has done right. I mean, Kevin Feige's a fan, you know, like
That's right.
why would you, I don't know. Just seems obvious.
Yeah. So I think the issue with trying to carry the universe forward based on where it stands right now is you can try to make it work, but you're still having to deal with the baggage of everything that audiences didn't respond to.
Yeah.
And I say that I said this before and I took grief for it, but I'm like for all of the conversation about Batman versus Superman made all this money, it was a big hit and whatever, and it's like, I grant that, but the testament to how that movie was received is how Justice League did.
Yeah.
People didn't even show up for that, right? So you can't blame that on all the behind the scenes stuff because most general audiences don't know that.
Right.
People didn't even show up for it because it's the sequel to the movie they didn't particularly like.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now you can say that, it's a movie that grows on you, whatever. I'm not getting into that, right? Because I think that movie does have value, and I say that as somebody who did not like it at all when it came out.
Right.
But my point is the proof is there. People didn't show up to Justice League because they didn't like Batman versus Superman.
Mm-hmm.
And so if we extrapolate that forward, you say, well, are there enough pieces here that are working to justify going forward? Or is it just a question of just let's pull off the Band-Aid and go forward from there?
Mm-hmm.
And I guess we're not going to know truly until 2025 or whatever.
Right.
Because that's when this whole new thing starts wheeling out. But it is sort of, I mean, as a Superman fan myself, I remember not being crazy about Superman Returns.
Mm-hmm.
But I was not opposed to a sequel with Brandon Routh. But you have to acknowledge that film broke enough of the toys that any sequel was going to have to sort of, it couldn't just be another adventure of Superman.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So you can see why they showed Brandon Routh the door, right?
Right. It's too bad for him. It's like these poor Supermen didn't do anything wrong.
Really? It's if I can plot a parallel, maybe in terms of what happened with Henry Cavill, I would point to like Pierce Brosnan, who was very well liked as James Bond. All of his movies did well, but the Bond team wanted a clean break in order to tell Casino Royale.
Mm-hmm.
And so even though Brosnan was beloved in that role, and even though he was contractually obligated to come back, they cut him loose.
Mm-hmm.
And people were really upset about that when it happened. Especially when Daniel Craig was announced, there were all these petitions and people being ridiculous, There's a website, we talked about this when we did our commentary. Daniel Craig is not Bond. That was the website, .com.
It's funny.
And it was just a message board of people bitching about him. That's all it was.
Yeah.
Right? But people got over it, right?
Yeah.
So if the thing that's being done is good enough, people are going to forget about it. And I think that's what's going to happen here. But that's not going to stop people from being, just hyperventilating about this.
It's like you said, when it all comes out and we see it and it works, then everyone's going to be happy. But till then, you got to complain about something.
I mean, I remember, I don't know about you, when Batman and Robin came out, the Joel Schumacher one.
Yeah.
At that time, it didn't occur to me that they were just going to rewind the tape and start over. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Like I was like, oh, the next one will fix it.
Yeah, because that's kind of what we had seen. I mean, they would make these big tweaks, different casting, but they all sort of just felt like sequels to one another. Like it wasn't okay, new universe. Yeah.
That's right. And yet now in hindsight, you're like, well, if not for Batman and Robin, we don't get the Dark Knight trilogy.
Right.
And how could it be any other way than that?
Yeah, it's interesting, by the way, too. I have this like sort of like Godfather-y image of Gunn behind his desk and like let them in. It sounds like he's having this like rotating, door sort of series of meetings lately where it's like met with Ben Affleck today, met with such and such today, met with The Rock today, met with or like The Rock be like met with Gunn today, like it must be like the drive-ons for the Warner Brothers lot this week. It must just be all these
That's right.
celebrities just coming in, coming out, getting the news, learning what's happening, what's not happening. It was interesting that Zachary Levi.
Zachary, I was going to mention this. Yeah, go ahead.
No, he seems fairly confident that his Shazam character is secure. So
I think Zachary Levi feels secure because the movie comes out in 3 months, and they don't want to do anything to make people less inclined to see it right now.
That makes a lot of sense,
right?
Yeah.
And that's why they're not going to say anything about Jason Momoa. They're not going to say anything about Ezra Miller.
Right. That's a long time to talk about Aquaman.
Yeah, but I think that if you're saying that the history that they've established for Superman is no longer in play, well, I don't know how you get rid of that but keep everything. It doesn't make sense to me,
Yeah, yeah. Man, it's such a they should flip-flop, I think, with Flash, because as I'm to understand whatever that story is with multiverses and whatnot, it really would be like a pretty tidy way to honor everything that came before, but also move on into something different.
Yeah, I agree. You have like some time travel shenanigans, and then at the end of the movie, Flash is played by Kevin Hart or something. I don't know. Like
yeah, whatever. Whatever.
Hey, I'm the new Flash. I'm the new Flash. Everybody. Like, oh, okay. I guess that's what we're doing now.
Right. Well, then you'd have to keep The Rock.
The Rock was told there's no Black Adam in the foreseeable future, and he gave some CYA statement like, "Oh no, but we're gonna keep." They told me that they're gonna keep us in mind for future uses of Black Adam. I'm like, no, it's gonna be one and done.
Yeah, well, he said what? Like, there's no place for Black Adam in this first chapter. Like, kind of making it sound like we'll see down the road. Yeah.
Yeah. There's no place for Black Adam in the book. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if I'm wrong, I will be wrong, but I will be shocked if at any point we get a Black Adam sequel.
Yeah. Yeah. Same.
And Brian would be totally fine with that.
I, wouldn't notice one way or the other.
Brian and Mick LaSalle from the Chronicle, who his review was, I disagreed with him, but it was so funny because he just absolutely he loathed this movie with just every fiber of his being.
Oh, really?
And it was pretty damn funny. I think he said it's like the worst movie of this year. It might be one of the worst movies ever made. Like it.
See, I don't even have those feelings about it. Like for me, it was more like that general complaint that people lobby at every superhero movie, whether it's I agree with it or not, but just sort of the taking all the like nothing burger superhero movies and putting it into a blender and sluicing it into some sort of goo. Like that was what Black Adam felt like to me, where I was just like,
it's the what is that pink paste, right?
Yes, that people say that nuggets are made of.
Yeah, it's the pink paste of superhero movies.
See, but the weird thing is I like nuggets.
Brian contains multitudes. That's what.
Yeah. But it's going to be interesting.
I think we're here for it, and certainly it gives us grist for this show.
Yeah.
It's the pink paste that we talk about on this show, so it's fine with me. I'm sure by next time there will be more to discuss as far as any further developments there. But I'm a little tired of superhero movies. How about you? You can use a break, right?
Yeah, I can use a break.
I think James Cameron is too. So let's take a short break and we'll come back and talk about what he's been up to. And we are back. And Brian, you know who else is back?
Jake Sully.
That's right. My Jake.
Natiri, Quaritch, they're all back.
Who?
Come on, guys. The Ikran.
So this movie, I think I mentioned, I had a journey trying to watch Avatar: The Way of Water, mainly because my planned screening didn't work out so well, and now I know that you and I are going to be recording, so that's like my firm deadline. and
Yeah.
I'm trying to find the 3.5 hours of my day that I can just carve out.
Hmm.
And then on top of that, I skipped the press screening. The press screening was like a week earlier because the notice I got was like no guests.
Hmm.
And,
Hmm.
and I was like, well, I want to watch with at least one of my kids.
Yeah.
So that's why I was like, I don't want to just go watch it. I have to now find the 3.5 hours that work for me and my kids. So finally, yesterday afternoon, I was able to make it work because my kids got done with school at 12:30. I found a 12:30 screening. I picked up my oldest.
Wow.
We went to the theater. My wife dropped off the other two. So I went with my older three, and we got it in. It worked.
Wow. I mean, that's part of the challenge of watching this movie is it being 3.5 hours long. And then you've got the trailers and going to the theater. I mean, it requires planning.
Well, and what added pressure, Brian, is that I just pictured James Cameron looking at me with judgment in his eyes.
Wait, about
so,
which part?
every part of this whole thing, from
Yeah.
from my kid getting sick to me skipping the press screening to you name it, just him kind of just looking at me and just kind of shaking his head.
That's so fun. I mean, that reminds me. It was GQ, right? I think we already mentioned it, but he did that interview. Did we talk about this?
No, I don't think we did.
Okay, so basically, this is not really even probably worth it, but he's just he has to be the expert on everything.
Right.
And I think in many ways that's really kind of admirable. Like if there's something you're interested in, you want to learn about it. You want to, but it was just funny where he was just like, yeah, for a while I realized I don't remember what it was, but it was basically like, yeah, I was realizing that, for vegetarianism and whatnot, like peas were the future. So I got, for 2 years, I decided to develop a pea farm and, I've since sold it. But anyway, I've learned a lot. I've learned everything about peas, So I was just thinking about with your kids being sick, it's just like, well, here's what why they're sick because you didn't do this. But here I'm developing this actual thing for the common cold because I realized I don't want colds anymore. So I developed a cold. That just feels like how he talks. About everything.
I dove down to the wreck of the Titanic and I
Yes.
harvested this mineral that's buried within people's last affairs that they had on that ship. And
Yeah. Yeah, only 3 people on Earth understand it. I mean, I understand it the most, but there's about 3 of us that understand it, and
and I'm 1, 2, and half of the third person. So really, there's only half a person.
Yeah.
So the movie is out, and it seems to be doing all right. There was some consternation that it's opened below expectations because it made 140 million instead of 175 million or some ridiculousness. I'm like, I think this movie's gonna do fine. Let's take as a given that it's going to play through the holidays just like the previous one did. I think when all is said and done, I think it's going to hit 1 billion like today as we record this.
Yeah, I think it's last I read, this could be yesterday's news, but I think it was at like 600 million.
Okay.
It's not even a week old yet, so and this thing plays, if you look at the first one, domestic did obviously really well, but it was like worldwide was like 1.5 billion. Like a lot of it came from the world. So
yeah.
I think we're going to be okay.
So all of that out of the way, the preamble, Avatar: The Way of Water. What do you think, Brian?
Can I just add one more little preamble? How many years have we been talking about this movie?
No.
I mean, there was like a time when we were like, I'll believe it when I'm walking out and the credits are rolling. Not even I'll believe it when I go to the theater to see it. It was like, I'll believe it after I've seen it and I'm walking out of the theater. I mean, there was a period of time where that was the case, right?
I do want somebody to do the supercut of us mocking the very notion of a sequel ever happening.
Probably.
Over the last 10 years.
I think Vulture or something had a timeline of all the announcements and all the times it got pushed. And, it's ever since 2009 or whatever.
Yeah.
So I just have to acknowledge that. Like, I couldn't believe it when it was over. I'm like, it exists and I've seen it.
And then at that moment, Brian disappeared and only his Jedi robes remained.
Yeah. I really enjoyed it. I think.
Me too.
Yeah, like it's great, like I've realized it's interesting listening to podcasts and reading reviews, and there's some people that are just kind of on it, but I'd say the majority of people are very high on it.
Yeah.
And I don't know that I'm ever going to feel passionate about it.
Dude, 100%. Oh my
right?
god. Yeah, like,
But
yeah, I'm right there with you.
okay, I think yeah, we're in the same ship. I feel, or the same.
Ship, get it? Yeah, the
Yeah, I was gonna try to say some sort of Navi term for ship, but I couldn't think of anything. Um, I didn't want to accidentally appropriate. It sounded like I was saying some other language or something. Um, but yeah, no, I don't know I'm ever going to feel passionate about it, but when I'm watching it, I'm loving it. Like I'm really enjoying it. And I think I mean we have so much to talk about, but what I will say up top is a lot was made from the first one about how people wished they could live there. You know, there was I mean everyone, I don't know how, but everyone saw this article about how people were having depression about not being able to live in this place. And I was like, I didn't feel that. Like I remember there's these big six-legged panthers and it looked like there's a lot of bugs. I was like, it's beautiful to look at, but no, I don't want to live there.
Yeah.
This movie, I was like, oh, like, yeah, no, I want to be here. Like I really did. And I thought I saw Cameron say,
Brian, I want to be, this is me. I wanted to be part of Colonel Quaritch's team and just take over this planet. I was so passionate.
Wait a minute. That would be so funny if that was genuinely, you're like, yeah, I just wanted to shove all these, pesky Navi aside and like set up my resort. It's like you and I show up and we're those like Navi Marine people chewing the gum and you're like yeah, no, I think this is a really interesting movie because I'll share a little bit of Federica's experience with it because I think it sort of all complements each other. She's just not crazy about the first one. She just didn't really feel anything for it. This one, it was interesting because
did you revisit it before watching this?
No. And I wish I had. I'm not like kicking myself or anything, but it would have been nice. I wish I had caught it in the theaters actually a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
But so I was thinking, oh, she's really not going to like this, but hopefully she enjoys the experience. But she said when it was over, she was like, I'm surprised, but I actually really liked all the drama. Like I got into the story. And so I think it's interesting because the drama worked for someone who didn't like the first one. I think the action is completely dependable. Well, dependable. It's above the bar. It's James Cameron. I don't think it's like the greatest action he's ever done, but I think it's great action, capital G.
Right. And
also, I had read that he had tried a couple ideas and realized they weren't nailing it. And they're like, let's really look at the first movie, why it worked, and let's try to apply that. And one of the big things was he did realize people wanted to live there. And I feel like he tapped into that in a really interesting way in this one, because there's a sequence where these kids are learning to swim and it's like 20 minutes long or something. Yeah. And I was aware of it. I was like, oh wow, we are like luxuriating in this. Like, but I was enjoying it.
Right.
And so it's just, I don't know really truly who else could pull this movie off. It's yeah. Right. It's really, it's weird. It's like part vacation movie, part action movie, part family drama, part like it's, part National Geographic video of someplace fantastical. Like it's all the above. And somehow it ties itself together into a very satisfying experience. Yeah. So that's my general thoughts, I think.
I think what you realize having watched this is, to some extent, this was where Cameron wanted to get to. Like the entire first movie is, and it's effective and it works, but it is place setting so that he can just drop us into the world. And all the shorthand and everything, we know it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
When the major character beat as far as Colonel Quaritch, Stephen Lang, we don't question it. We're like, oh, okay, he's okay, boom, we got it.
Yeah.
And that's a huge when you think about it, that's a big explanation. But they didn't. My point is, they're not like somehow Quaritch returned, and then
Yeah.
there's enough. There's enough of the road has been paved enough that you're like, okay, I understand how we got here. That's my point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It really, this is 3 hours. I think with credits, it ends up being about 3 hours, and it really takes its time to get going, right?
Yeah.
And I wouldn't say it felt short because it didn't, but it I was never bored for any of the 3 hours.
I never thought about the time. The only time I did was during that swimming sequence, like I said, though, but it was not for that reason. It was more, I was like, wow, he's really like, he's letting us explore with these characters. And that's really interesting. And I'm enjoying it.
Yeah.
No, 3 hours. And I was in, like, I will definitely see it one more time at least.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to go back. I want to experience it again.
I think Sam Worthington gets to play a lot of great beats in this.
Mm-hmm.
For all, I think people were kind of mean to him,
Yeah. And I might have been guilty of that too. I gotta be honest.
But I mean, I think that's not entirely invalid because I don't know that he got to do a ton in terms of playing range in the first movie.
Sure.
But I think he gets some really great emotional beats here. However, the flip side to that, I think Zoe Saldana got done dirty in this movie. I don't think she gets to do very much at all other than scream.
Agreed. I mean, it's surprisingly less about the people that we know from the first movie and more about their kids.
That's right.
Which is funny because that sounds like awful, like something like, oh no, kind of thing. But it actually is pretty great. But yeah, I do like those two, and right. Particularly Neytiri. I mean, she is a great character. And so, yes, I agree. You hope there's more for her ahead.
And that's the thing. I mean, we know that there is at least one more.
Yeah.
And so one presumes that she'll be looked after as far as that goes. But on the whole, I think it's smart how Cameron takes us out of the forests, right? So that was kind of my thought. I was like, I don't know that I want to spend another movie in the same topography,
Yeah.
And the fact that it's like, no, here's somewhere new. But even then, he really takes his time getting us out of the locales that we know. I mean, it's a solid hour and change.
Yeah.
Before we switch the location,
I didn't actually do the math, but I was thinking about it as I was watching. It almost feels like each hour is an act.
That's roughly what it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Like forest, beach, combat, kind of thing.
For sure. The final battle starts at the beginning of the last hour. I know that because I checked the watch there.
Oh.
I think, by the way, I completely forgot that Kate Winslet was in this.
Me too. Yeah, me too. And I think even while watching it, I was like, that's her, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought her character and Cliff Curtis, who plays her husband, they were both really good.
Mm-hmm.
But I gotta say, I really liked Stephen Lang in this and what they gave him to do.
Yeah, he's got really interesting, really interesting stuff to do here. And I've heard people sort of postulate on what might be ahead for him, and I was like, oh, that's really interesting.
I think he's got a Darth Vader redemption.
Yes, I think so too, and I think that could be really satisfying.
I would not have thought so, but yes, you're right.
Yeah.
There's this great scene where Colonel Quaritch in his avatar body, where he finds his body.
Yes.
And he holds his skull, and I'm like, man, isn't that something? Like, what is that? Like, what goes through your head?
Yeah, because that's the thing. Well, should we get to spoilers, I guess?
Yes, let's do it.
Let's do that. Okay. Spoilers. Yeah, because the whole notion is, right, like his memories and whatnot have been put into this avatar body, but he only knows things up to a point. He doesn't know his own death necessarily. And then when he encounters his body and holds his own skull, and you can see those 3 claw scars into the skull, and then he crushes his own skull. I mean, I was like, this is fantastic.
I gotta mention this. There's a scene. Well, I'll tell it this way. Yesterday evening, so we watched the movie in the afternoon, and then yesterday evening, my 2 older boys, they had to do a swim test for Boy Scouts in order to get like whatever the next level was. So Amina took them, and you know, at this point, my third one, he's already passed his swim test. So my second one is swimming, and he's supposed to do 4 laps, back, forth, back, and then the final lap on his back, and like he's getting worn out, and he wants to stop, and then my wife is like, no, you got to keep going because your brother finished it last year, or whatever it was, and he's like, he did it, then I'm gonna do it.
Right.
And I was like, he's Colonel Quaritch.
Yeah, when he's riding those birds or whatever. Yeah,
the banshee that he's like, this is how Jake Sully did it. That's how I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, where he's I love that he's like struggling, and then he's just like, what? Oh, all right. Like, yeah, that is hilarious. You're unlocking more stuff now. I mean, just him and the spider character, his son. I mean, that was really kind of interesting. I thought the spider character was kind of cool. I love this.
I was worried.
Me too.
Worried, right?
Well, wait, for what reasons?
I was like this little weird Tarzan looking kid running around with the Navi. I'm like, what's that going to be like?
Yeah.
And then I got used to him, but then he gets captured. I'm like, oh, is he going to be like turned against them? And
yeah.
I was worried about that, but it's interesting because I think this is where Cameron's instincts as a storyteller are very strong, right? Where he knows what you don't want to see. And I don't think the audience would have wanted that.
Yeah, no, same.
Right? And yet, here's my point. When he rescues his dad at the very end, I think that's something that the audience would not have wanted.
Yeah.
I think people in the audience are like, oh, just leave him.
Yeah.
Right? But then he brings him ashore and you get that great moment where they part. And then your mind starts moving. You're like, oh, I want to see what happens next now.
Yep. That was my exact feeling. I thought it was interesting the way that it appeared Jake killed him. And I was like, oh, I'm surprised he didn't get like a spear through the chest or something.
Right.
And so then when he was rescuing him, I couldn't help but think like in the sequel, them being like, you did what? But like sort of in a comical way. But if really thinking about it, I was like, of course, as a film goer, you're like, just kill him. He's the bad guy. But if you really think about it, I kind of enjoy the drama of like, damn it. Like you're not a great guy, but like, I'm not going to let you die. Like that's more human, I think. And
Brian, I thought it'd be funny if in the next one, Jake Sully's like, you did what? And then his son's like, I just borrowed a nail clipper. What are you so upset about? I'm just mad because Spider said he rescued Colonel Quaritch.
See, now that's why you should be in that writer's room for the Avatar sequels. Oh, that would be so funny.
Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
But no, I like it. I like it. I mean, obviously, we have 4 movies awaiting us, or 3, or whatever it is. So, I mean, we gotta obviously. I hadn't even thought about it, to be honest, being a saga. Like I guess that hadn't. I was like, yeah, I'm just going for another adventure. That's what I thought when I went into this. But it's like, of course, if you have all these movies that follow, I mean, there has to be some sort of, space opera-y saga-ness to it.
If there is a critique, in addition to Neytiri getting short shrifted, I think the fact that Jake's oldest son, I wish we got to know that character a little more. Nitam, I think is his name. Because the story ends up being the journey of the second son.
Yes.
And the fact that I think it's very compelling that Jake maybe unconsciously belittles him. So he's got this, he feels like he's got to live up to something, right?
Yeah.
And so that journey was very worthwhile, especially the bond he forms with the Tuluk Piacon, I think he's called, the space whale, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But I think the the fact that the older son dies, it's effective, but I don't know that it hit as hard as it would have if we'd spent a little bit more time with him.
I agree with that. I think I also had a hard time telling them apart sometimes.
Yes.
And I was a little surprised because I saw like 10 minutes of Avatar 1 on TV.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, that looks like Sigourney Weaver. Like the blue one, like her blue Sigourney. I was like, that looks like Sigourney Weaver. And I think a lot of their faces look very similar. And I kind of wish they put a little more of the actors' features in their face so they were a bit more distinguishable sometimes.
Well, I wonder if your reaction was precisely what Cameron wanted to avoid.
I mean, that's possible. That's possible. But I like I said, I confused the sons a couple times, and I will be entirely honest. I couldn't remember which one the girl had the crush on.
The Loak. She had
the daughter, Chief's daughter. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I was like, wait, is she mourning the one that she had the crush on, or is it like it sounds crazy, but I just kind of lost it the thread.
Like
there.
I think there's a scene at the end that, I mean, it almost made me cry, when Jake merges with the world tree or whatever their version of it, the water people.
Yeah.
And he sees his son, right?
Yeah.
And it's so beautiful because he's seeing him as a little boy and as a grown up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And my kids are, my oldest is about to turn 16,
Yep.
And he's just, to me, he's still just little,
Yeah.
And so I found that so effective, but I think it would have worked better if the character had a bit more time for us to really like I get it, right? He's the favored son,
mm-hmm.
but we don't get to know him beyond that,
right?
Yeah,
I mean, with all that running time, we could have maybe had a scene or two more.
Yeah, like a little bit here and there would have been enough, I think.
Yeah.
Now that said, you were talking about Sigourney Weaver. We got to talk about her character, Kiri, in this. I mean, like you can tell it's Sigourney Weaver.
Yes,
but it feels like you're like, this is so. I've never seen anything like this. You know what I mean?
It worked so much better than I would have ever guessed.
Right.
I when I heard that she was playing like a teenager, I was like, right. Like even in the trailers, it's like her voice is so recognizable and everything. Right. I was like, this is gonna be weird, but it like kind of worked. I don't know. It worked for me. And I really liked her too.
Yeah.
The character. Obviously there's a lot, I'm sure, that's being set up for that character. I mean, she's either possibly Immaculate Conception,
I mean, my sense is that she's the personification of Awa.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when they tried to use Awa to transfer Grace from her real body to her avatar, Awa connected with her avatar and that's what Kiri is.
Yeah.
I would be not at all surprised if that's where we end up with that. And the fact that they've left it deliberately unanswered,
right,
gives us something else to ponder. I mean, it's. I think for me, this is where I'm at after two Avatars. I'm like, I know the kind of experience James Cameron is going to give me.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been absolutely consistent for the last, 10 years of this show that we've been talking. I'm like, I will never bet against James Cameron.
Mm-hmm.
And this movie is why.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think part of the discussion over the past about Avatar over the past X amount of years, I mean, over a decade, right? Yeah. I think people's feelings on it and sort of like snickering at it a little bit has to do with it being so successful and then just almost dropping off the planet, right? And all this talk of sequels almost makes it look like, no, trust me, I'm serious. Come on, guys. Like it almost makes it feel like that a little bit.
Right.
But then once you see it, you're like, no, this is filmmaking that literally only one person can do. And the drama is better than it has any right to be. The action is like on a scale that I wish more people were capable of. And so when all is said and done, I was thinking, I think when the credits were going, I was like, dude, if they want to put one of these out every 2 years, I am more than happy to show up. Like,
Yeah.
this is, it's great blockbuster filmmaking, and it's different. It's weird. There's a little weirdness to it, and there's heart to it, and there's action to it. I appreciate that it contains all those things.
You know what's so interesting is that they've mapped out the geography and ecology and everything else of Pandora so that enough that it doesn't feel like you've got characters like, oh, and this is the Liberty Glop, and when you do this, and they're just sort of making it up as they go.
Right.
There's a sense of laying out the rules of the world. Those little things that they're able to connect with that help them breathe underwater.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And, like, that's a neat idea.
Yeah.
The whole whale hunting sequence.
Yeah.
I love that. It's human beings are just like terrible in general to this planet.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I don't love it. I hate it. It's terrible. But like, they really make you feel it for even before we get the scene where Kate Winslet like sees her friend that's been killed or whatever. Right.
Mm-hmm.
But like, just the way that hunt is really down to painful detail.
Yeah.
Depicted.
Yep.
And they do this whole thing, and they go and they drill in, and it's just this little vial. That's all they need.
Yep. And then Spider's like, "That's it? Like you're just gonna leave it now? Like you killed it for that?"
And I like that. There's that one guy, that animal, that marine biologist,
mm-hmm.
who's like, you see on his face that this is terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we get those characters in the midst of all this,
right?
Like, I just that's the thing. A part of me when they announced, oh, there's going to be this many movies, I'm like, how much can you get out of one planet, right? And then you see this, and you're kind of like, well, there have to be a lot of different topographies on this planet, so there's a lot of places to go.
Like a snowy place or a fireplace, or who knows?
So that's, I'm kind of like, well, let's see. I'm curious to see what that looks like, and I'm curious to see how that works.
Yeah. Speaking of, I want to acknowledge also. I mean, it's kind of easy to forget sometimes that everything you're watching isn't real.
That's right.
I mean, every now and then there'll be like a really small sort of physics thing, maybe, when someone's like tucking and rolling or whatever. But like, I remember at the end, that whaling sequence, I believe that's what it is, when that huge ship rounds this sort of cliff and is like ominously approaching. And I was like, wow. And then I had this thought, like, it's not even real. Like, it's, I mean, and it's, some movies, the CGI is like, well, yeah, it's a fantastical element added into this thing, but this is all meant to look photorealistic. And I would say, by and large, I mean, I think it's incredible what they're, it kind of makes you wonder too, like, when people would always talk about the uncanny valley and CGI characters' eyes, something wasn't making those eyes work. And I feel like Cameron's the type of guy to be like, yeah, I know what it is. Like, he's not going to tell you, but like, it's, it's like, it's because there's no shimmer in the pupil or something. Like, he knows whatever that detail is. And I feel like, I'm sure there are things that my eyes aren't looking at that if I did, I'd be like, oh, maybe that, okay, that's a little dodgy or whatever. But he knows exactly what to do with my eyeballs to make me go, yeah, this is real. And just be like, I want to jump on those spongy walkways, like I want to those trampoline things. I just thought that was crazy. And then, the last third, the action and we get into this, people have said this already, but it's sort of like Titanic territory, right? Where you got like turned over ship and rising water and that tension, but like, it's amazing. It totally works. And it's really thrilling.
This ship is like inverting, Poseidon Adventure style.
Yeah.
And you've got Neytiri and her daughter, the younger daughter, Tuk, and they're like climbing up the floor of the boat.
Mm-hmm.
So they're climbing over, like they're using like stools and tables as like ladder steps.
Yeah.
and I'm like, man, I just love like they figured out what's the internal geography of this ship, and so
Yeah.
your mind stops sort of looking for the seams, so to
Mm-hmm.
speak, and you're just sort of ensconced in the world, you know.
Yeah.
And so I mean that's that again. It's I'm not even after this. I'm not at a place where I'm like, give me the Avatar T-shirts or whatever. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
but it's a world now that I feel comfortable being like they know what they're doing. They're telling a story. I'm interested in seeing what happens next.
Yeah. It's
You know,
operating on a certain level that I gets me excited just about the filmmaking, frankly. And then
that's right.
like it's made me invested. It's made me care. And it's again, I'm probably not gonna be thinking about it in like the next year or two, like daydreaming about it necessarily. But like as soon as the next one comes out, I'll be there opening weekend. You know, like it's a place I like going to.
To me, if I can draw a parallel, it's it's a little bit like they announced that, oh, we're doing another Planet of the Apes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to jump ahead however many. And and obviously I love that franchise, but this specific version, I'm like, oh, cool. I want to go back now and see where that world is now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And that's how I feel about the next Avatar. And he said like, oh, the third one is such that if it needs to end there, it can end there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so that makes me say, okay, well, there's probably some closure to the Jake Sully story,
Right.
but there's enough juice here where we could carry forward. And this conflict, I want to see what happens next.
Right. Same.
Yeah.
Wait, I have to
I
ask
will.
you. Oh yeah.
Real quick, I just want to say I will say I missed James Horner. Uh,
Yeah.
you could hear his themes, but his presence was acutely missed.
Agreed. Agreed. His themes are it's a great theme.
Yeah.
It's stirring. No, all I was going to ask was what was the format you saw it in? Because I thought I had read somewhere that this is the most formats any one film has been simultaneously released in.
So I saw it in 3D, but not IMAX.
Okay. Did it have
Uh,
the variable frame rate?
the variable frame rate was driving me slightly insane, if I'm being honest.
Yeah. I my brother did not see it, and I told him I was like, after Christmas, let's go. Like I want to see it again. I want you to see it. I have to admit, I feel this weird sense of obligation where this is the only time it's going to be projected in this wacky way.
Right.
And so I feel like that's the way I'm supposed to see it or should see it.
Right.
But I have to admit, and I've always felt this way about 3D. There's something about 3D that creates this barrier between me and the story. And there was a moment I think there's something about the frame. I'm always about the frame. Like, how are you using the frame? What are you putting in the frame? What are you keeping out of the frame? How are you moving the frame? Like that really, really affects me.
Right.
And something about the 3D and maybe even like the varying frame rate, it almost feels like you're there or you're watching a play or something. And I'm like, no, I kind of want to understand how much something is looming.
Yeah.
By the way you're choosing to frame it versus just seeing it coming at me.
Well,
And I'm curious to watch this regular, honestly.
yeah. Right. Yeah. I mean, Hamza was saying to me after, he's like, it felt like a PlayStation cutscene at times.
Yeah.
And it was the high frame rate stuff.
I think it's interesting though. I think he's on to something. I think there's something to, there was Gemini Man and Billy Lynn's Halftime Walk and all that stuff where it's like the whole movie is
Right.
in this or Hobbit even, in this
Hobbit.
frame rate.
We're famously 10 years ago, I watched that in that was 3D IMAX high frame rate, and about halfway through the movie I ran out of the room and passed out outside the screening room.
It's
so that was me.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's interesting then that Cameron has been like, no, like not the entire movie.
Yeah.
Like certain portions of the movie. And I can't verify this. I thought I heard someone else say this, but sometimes it's even just things in the frame. Like a figure, and it's not even the entire frame. But I think what he was trying to avoid was, with 24 frames per second, sometimes when you pan, or whatever, or dolly or whatever, it gets a little stuttery. And I think with the 3D and all that, he was like, well, when there's action, when there's things moving really quickly, or when the camera's moving around very quickly, I want to smooth that out a little bit. Just for the 3D experience or something. And so I understand. And then the movie will go right back to 24 frames per second, the way we're used to seeing movies. I think there's something interesting to that, but it was also, something a little jarring about it too. And I'm kind of, like I said, I'm kind of curious to watch this thing in one consistent frame rate at some point, I think.
Like I rolled with it, and it certainly was not a deal breaker by any stretch, but I found it, I don't know, and maybe this is just me being a grumpy old man. Like, I think 24 frames a second works. There's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, I think I'm exactly with you. Like, it didn't ruin the experience at all. It was interesting, but it just made me curious to be like, okay, let me see the other version too. Like, I want to compare a little bit.
Yeah, I'm curious what your comparison comes away with.
Yeah, me too.
So that is our discussion on Avatar: The Way of Water. Anything else that you wanted to mention?
No, I think it's funny that we landed pretty much on the exact same place. I can't wait to watch it again. I'm weirdly, it's so funny as I'm seeing the box office announced, and it's like, it's already made 600. I find myself rooting for it. And I don't know why I would ever root against it, but I'm also like, why am I rooting for this? Like, I don't know, but I am kind of, like, I just kind of want it to work. And it did make me happy when I was hearing so many people were enjoying it. And I don't know where that's coming from, but I am.
Well, Brian, if I may, when you think about it, it is now what Star Wars used to be, which is a massive 4-quadrant mega franchise.
Yeah.
That is the product of one man's imagination.
Yeah.
That's not in any way belittling, obviously, all the technicians and all the work that went in, but this would not exist were it not for James Cameron.
Sure. Yeah.
He's the guiding force behind all of it.
Yeah.
And so that makes it a bit of a unicorn right now.
Yeah. Yeah. And the fact that we did connect with it, and right. So that's exciting. And I think like you say, in those types of movies, sometimes we're just like, yeah, that was fun, and that becomes like, yeah, that was successful because we're like, yeah, that was fun. And I think when something can just, clear a little higher, there's something exciting about that, and you can't help but feel, you root for that.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah.
So that wraps up our Avatar discussion. I hope people enjoyed it, and we're going to try to meet back up and squeeze out one more episode before the year ends. Fingers crossed. But regardless, I say this to you, Brian, and to everybody listening. I hope you have a safe, relaxing, and fruitful holiday season. I hope everybody is. We're as we record this, the entire country is about to be buffeted by a ridiculous winter storm.
Yeah. I hope everybody's okay.
The Chicagoland is just going to be whiteout conditions. So I'm definitely worrying for my friends and family there, but also grateful that I am not living there.
Yeah. It's kind of surreal, to be honest. I mean, my parents are flying in today, and they were showing me the blustery conditions out the airport window, and it's just so different where we are. It's wild how different. It's a big country, and it's all this different weather.
Over here, you're like wear a t-shirt to go out and get the mail.
I know.
But I am grateful. I am always grateful to be living in California.
Yeah.
So with that, thank you everybody for listening. And if you have thoughts on Avatar: The Way of Water, we certainly want to hear them. You can email us at moviefilmpodcast@gmail.com. You can also hit like on our Facebook page, facebook.com/moviefilmpodcast, and message us there. If you're looking for me online, you can find me on Twitter at Zacky's Corner. That's ZAKIS Corner. That's also my website, justadded.com. And of course, you can find me at the San Francisco Chronicle, where my reviews and articles go up regularly. I just contributed to a piece looking at the best TV of 2022, and I have a piece coming up next week looking at the TV I am looking forward to in 2023. So both of those things are there. And my review of 1923 is at IGN, so you can check that out.
I can't wait to read it.
What about you, Brian?
Just plugging away. As the year's closing, I'm very excited to finally say that, the Star Wars show I'm working on is coming out next year soon. It's almost that year. It'll be spring 2023, but I'm very excited about that. And then, I still have Puppy Dog Pal episodes dropping kind of like once a month, it seems now, on Disney Plus, Disney Junior. And yeah, I mean, we plan on having one more episode, but I just I'm very thankful to be doing this for another year with you, and all the listeners and all the listener engagement means so much. So I just want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays.
Well, there we go. On behalf of my partner, Brian Hall, this has been Movie Film 260. We'll be back soon. Thank you, everyone, for listening. We'll catch you next time.
Welcome, friends. It's the Movie Film Podcast. Movie Film Podcast. Enjoy the show. Jackie and Brian are talking about movies. Movie Film Podcast on the radio.